Welcome back to News 5 at 9, 9:13 right now. It's time to get financially fit. So Mark Davidson's here from Cornerstone Investments over in Daphne. And today we're talking about something you say pretty basic, but very important to remind our viewers of this time of the year, and that's setting our financial goals for the next year. In the same way you set New Year's resolutions, you want to set financial goals as well. And one thing that I was telling you before we came on is we have a lot of people that call us in the first 3 weeks of the year and say, hey, I need to come in and talk to y'all and get set up. We get motivated those first few weeks, don't we? And the motivation just fades, and maybe 1 out of 10 of those people who call us actually do something during the year. So 12 months later, everybody's still roughly in the same position. So now there are some basic things you can do without spending a fortune. But I like to think too that some of the tips you're about to give us really give us a peace of mind too, which I think is also priceless. What are some of the basic things you suggest people do? I think one of the first things to do is consider a budget. I'm not talking about counting every penny that comes into or flows out of the household, but understanding the difference between income and wealth. You know, income is what you earn, but wealth is what you retain after the whole process is done. Also, when you budget, try to figure out how to reduce fixed expenses. And what do those mean? Well, those are expenses that you have to pay each month. For example, a cable bill. If you have a premium cable package with, say, 10 movie channels and you don't really watch them, pick up the phone, call the cable company, and cut them back. And especially if you are trying to increase your savings, there are things like that, those luxuries that we may not even use or need, that a little bit kind of adds up over a month. I mean, over a year, rather. Okay, so also you say this can kind of, I guess, affect our next topic, and that's building a little bit of a cushion for an emergency account. What are some ways we can do that, and how much should we have in an emergency account? Well, a way that you can start out slowly is you can set up with your banking relationship, you can set up a savings account and just draw, $25 or $50 a month over. And that's what we do. I think most people have direct deposit now, so a portion of my paycheck goes into savings, so I never really see it to spend it in my checking account. Exactly. And what we're talking about doing is making sure that you've got the money there should you need an expensive auto repair, should you need a home repair that has to be done immediately, something like that. Unexpected medical bills. Perfect example. So, for instance, we're a middle income class family. How much, I've heard that you should have anywhere between a month to 3 months of your salary in an emergency account. Is that something you recommend? A lot of people use 6 months as a rule of thumb, but I think that's unrealistic. I think the best thing to do is prepare yourself for some type of unexpected event. So, for example, 1 to 3 is probably reasonable. I think having $3,000 to $5,000 set aside for some type of emergency is where you want to be. Because as we were talking about, other than job loss, that should cover some of the little emergencies that we encounter in everyday life. Okay, now retirement savings, also a really good opportunity this time of the year to evaluate what you're moving towards there. Most people have probably gotten some type of raise, at least cost of living, during the past 12 months. And what you can do is you can give yourself that raise by saving that raise through your retirement account, whether it's an IRA that you have set up on your own or something that your employer has set up for you. And I like where you say also try to match those employer the amount that they try to set aside for you. There's a lot of programs that different companies have that you can really take advantage of there too. Just consider that free money. If they're going to pay X% on top of what you're putting in, it's a benefit that you certainly should take advantage of. Okay, and finally you say a balance sheet. What does that mean, and what should we do with that? What we're talking about there is kind of listing the household assets and the household liabilities to determine what the difference is, and that difference is how much your household is worth. So you might list checking or savings account, but also you would have to list the balance that you retain on a credit card or on student loans. So what you're trying to do is get a snapshot so that once a year you look at this and you see the progress that you're making, or on the other hand, you see that you're not making progress, so you're more motivated to do some of these things that we've talked about earlier. Very good tips. If you have any questions about our topic today, you can always contact Mark and the folks over at Cornerstone Investments. 626-6292 will get you in touch with them over in Daphne. Thanks for joining us. Happy New Year, Mark. We'll be right back.